And at the end of the day, we took 2 days off, right?
Right.
So it was nice. It was kind of a nice midweek breather, but back in action.
It's funny because like it definitely wasn't time off because we were both, super crazy, productive, busy, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like I missed people.
Right.
It's
That's
funny.
right.
So how's everybody doing, man?
How is everybody doing? I'll tell you what, we've been talking to some pretty smart people the last few days.
Yeah.
Had some, a couple of guys. Let's see. I spoke with my buddy, Croy Sadler. You don't know Croy yet.
I don't.
He is a absolute ass kicker. He ran across America and became a direct response
Neat.
internet entrepreneur.
Sweet.
Tried a bunch of things, mediocre success, and last year launched a woo-woo personal development law of attraction program called Instant Manifestation on ClickBank that instantly manifested him a giant pile of cash. And
Well, that doesn't suck.
And now he has, he'd been doing the email marketing thing on a small scale and never really hit a home run. And he hit a home run. And so now he has a big list, and he lives in Connecticut. So we get together like once a year to run, So I talked to him, and that was cool. But we also talked with some other really great people. I had a great conversation with Kurt Molly, right? Of course, of the Belt Method.
Yep.
Ads Super Ninja. And he encouraged me to reconnect with my old friend that I've known a lot longer than Kurt has. I might point out, Tim Irway.
But we're not going to call names.
There was no name calling there. But I don't think, what would be the name for that?
He was my friend first.
You're my friend first. No, is Tim Irway. And Tim Irway is, not only is Tim Irway exceptionally...
Hat tip to Tim. I am blown away by his generosity, his brilliance, his insights. Just thank you. And anybody that gets the opportunity to work with this gentleman, jump on it.
That's right. Tim is doing some amazing stuff. He's been in the game for a long time. And like I met Tim years and years and years ago, and we've worked together here and there on a couple of small things, but not like I was involved with the 30K in 30 days project back when him and Jesse really were pushing that out. And so it's been really good to reconnect with him. We've stayed in touch over the years, but he has been doing some consulting with us in the last couple of days that has been absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. Second to none. Absolutely second to none.
I'm glad we both feel that way. That's good.
Well, I thank you very much for connecting us and making that possible for us. It's he's phenomenal, and I just can't say enough strong things about it.
That's right. So hopefully these conversations that we just had with Tim Irway will end up being a massive multiplier for our business moving forward. But who knows? We'll find out. You don't always know what's going to work and what's not going to work and really make the difference when all is said and done. You got to keep trying things until you figure it out, though. And so the question that I'd like to pose to you, Joshua, to myself, and to everyone, all of our wonderful viewers, is who or what has really made some of the biggest differences in your business entrepreneurial life, whether it's personal mental shifts or breakthroughs or bottom line profit breakthroughs in your business? Who have been some of the people or some of the situations that you've learned from that have just magnified, multiplied, amplified your results dramatically, right?
Like a paradigm shift where you see things in a way that you didn't see before, and that produces a new vision, a new way of thinking, a new way of new possibilities.
That's right.
Where like something may have been quote unquote impossible before now becomes possible just because you had somebody, whether it's somebody, something, some situation, experience, whatever. Yeah. Shake you up. I guess the earliest one. There's so many, but I'm just like going back in chronological order.
We don't necessarily have to go to the beginning. We can go anywhere,
Well, one of the biggest breakthrough aha moments for me was when I went to a seminar in New York City in 1991, and it was how to make money in real estate.
That was when I was a freshman in high school.
Well, I was in college, and I was at Boston at Northeastern University at the time, and I grew up in New York City, and I picked up a New York Times just out of the blue because they were giving them away to get subscribers. And I came across this ad that I didn't know it was an ad. I came across this article, and it says, "Young millionaire swears under oath that he can show any New York City area resident how to get rich in real estate in 1 year or less." And then it went on to tell this whole story in the rest of the article. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, this is really cool. And you can call this number and reserve your seat, if seats are still available. So I called up, and I at the time they were charging $10. And so I discovered two things that day that shifted my paradigm forever. I discovered, number one, that sales was a profession and that you could learn about sales. And that came when I went to the actual seminar, and I learned about that. And so much so that I bought their books and tapes. I didn't know the gig. I didn't know that it was going to be like these presentations. And I loved the content and what they had to offer there so much that I went to work on a cooperative education program with my university and with the seminar company. And the what's up, Christopher? So I went there and discovered that sales is an actual thing. Like it's a skill, it's a profession, and you could learn about it. And so I ended up learning that. But what really, I didn't know it at the time, but really what intrigued me was his marketing, that ad. And when I started working for him on the 6-month stretch, and by the way, he's based in Florida, which is why ultimately I moved down here after school and live in Florida now, is because of that experience. I discovered that ad that he wrote was A, an ad, and B, was based on Gary Halbert's. Yeah. And that's when I learned about who Gary Halbert was in 1991. Actually, it wasn't until like January of 92, because I had that experience. So that was like the big, profound, shift in thinking about marketing and copywriting, and understanding that it was something completely different than marketing. It took me a long time to understand this, but marketing and sales are not the same thing. It's completely different functions. And it's funny because I learned sales first, and the way, frankly, that I learned from Gary Halbert and Russ Whitney was that marketing is just salesmanship multiplied. Right. And it really isn't. It's a different, yes, it's automated. Yes, it is. But I didn't learn that till much later. And I always gravitated and was better at marketing than I was at sales. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's been true of me as well. Right. I definitely hear you. It's very interesting. Telling your story that far back, it reminded me of something that I rarely talk about, not for any particular reason, but let me see if this is still here. Hold on. Okay. It'd be so, oh! You got it? Oh, I got it. Let me see what year this says. So this is going to be so good. Oh, yeah. If I do say so myself. So I thought that I got, in my mind, I got this in high school, but that's a lie. I bought this at some point in college. And as it turns out, it was an infomercial. So this is before I became a hypnotist, right? I was in college, so that means I was selling salsa. I was in college, I was selling salsa, I was running on a national level cross-country team, and I was driving the college vans around, right, for work study. And I saw an infomercial, and Don Lepre, small ads, big profits, how you could turn $30 into a fortune. I love that infomercial. And after I got exposed to it, it was like, little tiny classified ads. You'd put one classified ad and you'd make a $2 profit. What's the big deal? But now I can show you how to multiply that out across 100,000 little tiny classified ads, and that $2 profit is now going to be making you $400,000 a year, or a day, or a minute, or.
And I remember being in college, and I bought this. I bought some how to make money on the internet like things before I was exposed to direct response or whatever. And I even tried. I used the tiny ads, the small ads, big profit system. And I remember, oh my gosh, what's it called? It was like this. I would run these ads for like this work at home catalog thing where you could like sell these like little log cabins and things that like grandmas were making. Like, it was like,
What's up, Max? What's up, Christopher? Yeah, not that I want to be stirring up controversy, but, your internet marketing friends are just wrong.
What's that?
It's strange because I have some internet marketing friends who say there are only sales.
That's right. It's interesting. So I bought that and I ran these ads, like classified ads, and
classified.
To some degree, like I would make money, like selling various types of special reports and this kind of stuff that I wasn't even writing. But it was so boring, right? It was just like put money in, get money out. It was exclusively systematic. There was no soul in it, and so I couldn't stick to it because it really didn't matter to me. It was just cash.
Right.
But that was my first experience, I guess, buying from an infomercial and then implementing a system.
We're getting all sorts of great comments. I'm sorry, I got to interrupt you, but I didn't say that it didn't work. That it's not. I'm not getting down on them for saying that. God bless them. I mean, like if it works for them, great. And I'm not saying that they're wrong for what they're doing. I'm just saying that there is a distinct difference between marketing and sales, and that the skill sets are different. And I'm not saying that what they're doing doesn't work. Obviously it works, and it worked very well for me because I did the same thing early in my marketing career, early in my business career. So I've just shifted my understanding, and I choose to these days, Christopher, adopt the Peter Drucker approach to things, which is the role of marketing. The purpose of marketing is to make sales superfluous.
That's right.
Unnecessary.
That's right.
So that your marketing does such a great job at explaining and matching to the who with what you've got, that there's not a need to convince anybody to do anything, that they come to you basically ready to enroll, raise it, pick me, sign me up.
That's right.
All right, cool. I thought I might have offended you, Mother Drucker. Yeah, I thought I might have offended you, Christopher, and I just wanted to qualify that. And what is up, Max? Yo, what's up? That's Max over in the Art of Email Marketing group. And
Nice.
And did you see that Christopher also got his start in marketing career in college doing little tiny classified ads?
Same thing. Yeah, it is funny. And I remember I went on to buy another classified based system. I bought it from this guy that was a lawyer and a chiropractor. So this guy was like a serial career guy. He had like 5 different careers, and every one of them turned out to be like direct response friendly. So he learned direct response. He became a chiropractor. He became a lawyer, and he used direct response and special reports and classified ads and pre-recorded messages in these businesses that he did over the years. And then he packaged them all up into a binder of like 5 different professions and all of his swipe files. And it was the only thing that I could buy, the only course that I could find that I could buy. This is pre-internet, right? Well, the internet existed, but whatever.
It was CompuServe bulletin boards, right?
Yeah. And so I was doing classified ads, and I ended up doing that for my hypnosis practice, right? And so I placed classified ads. I basically adapted these chiropractic ads and chiropractic special reports to be about quitting smoking, losing weight, insomnia, instead of neck pain, back pain, and headaches or whatever. And it worked. I was able to put classified ads in my local newspaper, get people to call, listen to the voicemail at the 1-800 number, to leave their contact information, and then I'd print out a special report for them, staple it with the extra long stapler, stick it in an envelope, and drop it in the mail. And they'd call me back and book a free appointment, and come in. But yeah, that was huge. What was another one for you, Joshua?
Another one of a paradigm shift?
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of connected. It's like the first time that I experienced automation in marketing. And what I mean is like the first time that I implemented a two-step process, or I implemented some of the marketing that I had been seeing other people do, or that I had been a part of but not doing for myself. And it was like magic. Holy shit, this actually works. And
Right.
It was like, and the first campaign that I ever wrote, that I ever did, was for a self-published book that I wrote and self-published 10,000 copies of, and had them stacked up in my garage. And then I had to figure out how the hell to sell it.
Right.
And I based it on, who else? My hero, Gary Halbert, and so I did a two-step ad approach, and I actually executed on it. And I couldn't believe that I was getting voicemail messages with people leaving their credit card numbers on the voicemail. Like, holy shit, this works. And like first I couldn't believe that they actually called the free recorded message and left the number to get the free report.
Right.
Then I couldn't believe that they called in and left their credit card information to get the book sent to them. And I was like, this works.
That's right.
Like,
That's
wow,
right.
this was like total voodoo.
Right.
Then it was the comparison when like the automation, holy shit, that actually works moment. It's when you add marketing and lead generation done properly to your sales process. So like when the prospecting, what I discovered was that when you added a little marketing magic on the front end to any lead generation, that it made the conversion 1,000,000 times easier. And I didn't know it at the time, that quote by Drucker, but I lived it, right? And so that was a paradigm shift like no others. And, in terms of the education, there's been so many different programs that I've invested in throughout the years that each one has given me a little bit of a different shift. And it's, for me, it was like when I finally had the guts to snatch up my balls and execute on it and say, well, holy shit, this actually works. It's not like everything worked all the time, but I was so scared. I remember in the beginning, I had all these big dreams.
Yeah.
And I had all these, ideas and things that I was going to execute on, and things that were going to be like big plans.
Yeah.
But when it came time to pull the trigger, I was scared.
Right.
So I didn't. And because I was concerned that it wasn't going to work, basically I was attached to the outcome. And then I don't know whether I got this from somebody else or I just kind of came up with it on my own, but I gave myself permission to fail.
Yeah.
At least that's what I call it.
Right.
Like, I'm going to do this, and it had to do with the self-publishing the book. I'm going to self-publish the book. I'm going to get it printed. I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to try the marketing. And it doesn't matter whether it works or not, but
Right.
I'm going to do it, and I'm going to celebrate the fact that I got it done. And so for me, those paradigm shifts were like when I bridged the gap between learning and doing, and actually got into action and dared to put some stuff to work and start implementing, because I had all this pent up knowledge, all this pent up expertise intellectually, but I didn't have it experientially.
Right.
And I didn't yet know that there was still a gap between learning it, like I knew it well. I could quote it better than the experts themselves could teach it. I could teach it better because I knew it that well, all of this stuff.
Right.
You know, because I was just a junkie on all of the information, marketing, sales, whatever. But doing it was another story.
Right.
But then when I actually started implementing it and trying it and seeing different results from it, and going through that was huge for me.
Right.
It's absolutely huge.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
it's kind of like a combination between like the self-education, but actually then, getting into action. And that's, I mean, not to be
deprecating,
not self-deprecating,
Aggrandizing.
self-promoting or ego promoting, but that's exactly why I created NPOD the way I did.
Right.
Because it was a combination of both the learning and the doing, but the simultaneous, step in lockstep if people went through it the way it was designed.
Yeah. See, I often, find myself in my life having the opposite problem, which is I'm very impatient. I don't do as much of the research and study and following as I'd like. And I want to get into action right now. And I'm totally fine with failing. So I often will do like a ton of things that will fail because I just like trying new stuff, but it's not necessarily always the great stuff. Right?
It's funny because I'm the same way. I'm a fast start just like you.
Yeah.
And I get into action immediately, but the fear of it not working out the way that I had hoped that it would.
Right.
Stop me on when I was 99% there and I wouldn't execute on it. Right.
Yeah.
Once I proved it to myself that it worked, then, Katie barred the doors. And then it was just a matter of like, okay, I get to embrace what I'm really good at, which is being a quick start, being, a ready, fire, aim kind of guy. And not doing all of the necessarily all the research. Once I get the general gist, I got this, I'm willing to iterate and make some things happen. But it was funny because like it didn't happen until I got in the game. Mm-hmm. Like until I just said, screw it. I'm a winner by completing this.
Right.
It doesn't matter what the outcome is, but I was.
That's such an important insight. And I think people have it different ways. For me, it's like every email is practice. Every campaign that I launch is practice. Every VSL, it's training. And I mean, like what's the equivalent of like race day? Maybe a launch, I guess. But like still, even if you botch a launch, it's still practice. Even if your launch crushes it, it's still practice. Like every time you release a new thing, the only point is to hone your skills. It's to become better, to learn from it and to hone your skills every single day. Every piece of marketing that you put out, every email you write, every Facebook Live that you do, it's all practice for me.
I'm just glad now that I could embrace that mental, makeup like you're talking about, because that was not a natural state for me. Once I got past my own mental inertia and whatever, bullshit conversations I had running in my head, then I proved to myself that it was just a conversation. Now, what you say, that is so empowering to me, but I don't know where it was or when it was, or like, do you remember whether that was something that you adopted or whether that was just part of your core belief system from as early as you can remember, like that it's all just practice? I mean, now that jives with me and I truly live that, but it wasn't always that way.
It's, I guess, I mean, how it actually happened. I mean, all of our memories are so inaccurate, based on the stories that we tell ourselves about what did or didn't happen in our head, but my best conscious understanding of it is like, I sucked at so much as a kid, right? Like I sucked socially. I sucked academically. I had no hand-eye coordination. My legs were freaking deformed. I had no stable home life, like sucked, wicked ADD, total pain in the, whatever. And so
wicked.
I didn't have a very high opinion of as a kid, I was like, I have no natural skills or abilities. I'm not good at anything. And so I just assumed that I was going to fall on my face in every class that I took. And I assumed that I was going to be like the last person picked for dodgeball every time. And so assuming the underdog role, I wasn't afraid of failure. I assumed it. And then at some point I was like, okay, fuck you guys. I'm going to kick ass. And that really happened for me when I started running. Like when I started running and really engaged with it and my legs bent around and that whole, like at that point, I was just like, I don't care how much failure I have to endure. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if like that is a natural. I guess it is for some people just a natural trait.
Maybe you endure a certain type of trauma and it messes you up in a particular way.
Well, I mean, I'm just curious how it gets there because so many people are stuck there, like I was.
Yeah, and then you can't pop it out, right?
Right. Yeah, it's a great. Elaine's got some great stuff. So go ahead and I know you can't post the whole thing, but go ahead and read it.
Yeah. So with longer comments, guys, it gets kind of cut off in the preview. So I'll read the whole thing. So Elaine says, I actually bought a collection of hypnotherapy audios by Steve G. Jones, good friend, through Tellman's website. I really got a lot of benefit from those for feeling better about myself. I think the biggest paradigm shift happened in 2007. Though in 2007, when I listened to an audio tape series, Personal Power by Tony Robbins. That is like a classic. So good.
That's a big reminder, by the way, Elaine. Thank you for reminding me. That was a huge paradigm shift for me as well.
Yeah, when I read Unlimited Power, which is kind of the book.
That was
on
the way. Oh God, you're just triggering a thought for me. On the way driving to New York for that webinar, for that seminar that I had seen the newspaper ad for on campus in Boston. I was reading, I just started studying Unlimited Power, and I was blown away by it. And so I was intrigued by the seminar understanding. And I had that book in my bag at the hotel it wasn't at the hotel, but at the seminar.
So fast forward, this is funny. So, I finished college and decided that I wanted to become a hypnotherapist. And because I'd studied hypnosis as part of my research in college, and I answered strangely enough, a classified ad in the newspaper, being placed by a local hypnotherapy clinic in rural Vermont, which is kind of a weird thing to think about. And it was to become a certified hypnotherapist. And I was actually looking for a job at the time because I had like no money. And I answered this anyway because I was interested in hypnosis and I can get trained locally. What the heck, right? And so I went and I got trained. I spent my last $2,000 on this, literally my last $2,000. I had less than $100 left in my bank account after that, and I was not making enough money at the time in my various part-time jobs I was piecing together, and I gave Sharon, the owner of the practice, my last $2,000, and went and started going through this hypnotherapy certification course with Positive Changes Hypnosis, which is a hypnosis franchise. Now, here's why this is funny. 2 reasons. 1, who started the largest, most successful Positive Changes hypnotherapy clinic ever?
I can't answer because I know the answer to this one.
The answer is marketing legend Rich Schefren. And so I met Rich Schefren years before he was an internet guru or had an internet.
Hypnotize your cows, right. Vermont Hypnosis Clinic.
That's right.
By the way, Christopher also has something in common with you. He was picked last for dodgeball, as was I, soccer and all of that. But Christopher, I just want to ask you while Tellman finishes that story, and there's a delay here. So can you tell us at what point did you choose to adopt your belief about every mistake I make brings me more success along my journey, or did that come from just something that was that you don't know that was just inborn into you, or did you make a conscious decision? Because something's coming to mind for me that I just want to grab, and I will. But now, Tellman, I know you've got more to tell on that story with Rich Schefren. Yeah,
so Rich Schefren, way before he was an internet marketing guru, I saw him speak from stage at this Positive Changes Hypnosis Clinic conference. And he spoke about the fashion brand that he had started and the clothing, the high-end clothing stores that he had started. And so it's very, very interesting that we both met well before either one of us started online marketing. Anyway, the point is I ended up going through that certification program, became a hypnotherapist, and got hired to work at Positive Changes Hypnosis in Brattleboro, Vermont. And during that process, they used a lot of NLP, or neuro linguistic programming, in their in the way that they did sessions. And so I needed to start learning more about NLP. And Sharon, the woman that owned the franchise, she said that I could read anything in her library that I wanted. And one of the books in her library that she recommended that I read was Unlimited Power by Tony Robbins. And so I was doing hypnosis in a hypnotherapy clinic. I want to point out the hypnotherapy clinic was entirely direct response driven, but I didn't even know what that meant at the time. They had full page newspaper ads, and they had long copy radio ads that were with before and after testimonials and guarantees, and private consultations that you went in, private screenings and assessments that you went in to take, which were sales conversations. And I hated their marketing so bad. I was offended by it because of its style. It had no class. But when I would have a no-show or I'd have a empty hour in my schedule, I was reading Unlimited Power in the background. And that book just completely blew my mind open in terms of, it gave me the ability to ratchet up both my skill set and my perspective around things in my life that I wanted to improve in, or areas where I wanted to get better at or show excellence in. It really was like a back door into my brain. Where I could just go back and flip the controls around a little bit, and boom, automatically be better at anything. It was pretty rad. Yeah,
that's phenomenal. I couldn't find I can't believe I can't find it, because I've got like all of my favorite game-changing books on my shelf, but must have fallen down behind somewhere. But Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And what triggered the thought was, I think that's probably the first time that I got the exposed to the understanding, his concept, or whatever the process of every adversity carries with it the seed of equal or greater benefit, if you look for it. And so that's what I first started to do to consciously focus in on the process. And I just saw Derek Gal's name there. I actually bought Insider Secrets to Marketing Your Business on the Internet from Marketing Tips as well. And that was my first transition from offline direct response into online direct response. Only it wasn't when Derek was running the company. It was before Corey died. Corey Rudel died and passed away during a motorcycle race. But same product. And that was a game. And now I'm thinking about that one. That was a paradigm shifting game changer for me as well.
Interesting. I didn't buy that. I mean, I knew about those guys. I don't know that I ever bought any products by them. But Christopher mentioned something that I often like to share with our students. So I'm glad that he mentioned this. He says also,
that was Max, by the way, that mentioned. I had to look back in the group to see who the comment was from.
Cool. Yeah, Christopher says, doing lots of live streaming has helped dissolve my perfectionist tendency and embrace failures. Man, I'll tell you what, Christopher, we have a ton of people in 99 days. We have NPod clients, all sorts of people who are following us who are actively trying to get better at live streaming every day in order to drive more traffic, right? Both organic and then live streaming, and then using those videos as ads. And many people are terrified of saying something stupid on a live stream or doing something dumb or tripping over their words or talking or offending someone or talking about something that doesn't make sense or looking like a dumbass in some way, shape, or form. I mean, come on, anyone can look like a dumbass. It's really not that hard, and it's okay. You know,
I thought for a second that was your underwear. I just turned back and I was like, what the hell's going on? Oh, okay.
Oh, I've never given myself a wedgie like that before. That would be a trick, though, wouldn't it?
Maybe Atomic wedgie, self-given. He got hypnotized mind control to give himself an atomic wedgie.
That's right.
Come on, Christopher. I know you got something funny for that one.
It's the delay. It's the delay.
Yeah, exactly.
And it doesn't mean that you should never rehearse, and it doesn't mean that you shouldn't perfect your presentation over time. But and there are certain types of presentations that you're going to give where really having your attention to detail dialed in and rehearsing it a million times makes sense. For example, like if you're on point to do a TED Talk, and you know you have to deliver a powerful message that gives people goosebumps in a certain amount of time, well, that's something you should probably practice a few hundred times to get it dialed in, right?
Yeah, and you're probably not going to be invited until you've already been able to do that in another capacity where you're like polished at doing something like that, right?
That's right.
Maybe that's my judgment, but
hard to say. I mean, I'm sure there are people who've done TED Talks that have crushed it that were unrehearsed too, but in terms of live streaming, one of the best things that you can do is get good at talking to people about the products and services that you're offering, right? And doing that live and in person, face-to-face, or doing it live and in person in a group setting, or doing it live and in person on a webinar, or Facebook Live, or on Skype, in all the different mediums that you could possibly be interacting with people, connecting with people, building rapport, and selling, it's good to be able to talk off the top of your head about your stuff and practice. That's the skill you're practicing. You're actually practicing being able to talk in real time with anyone about the kind of stuff that you're offering.
And can I say something about like the point about looking stupid?
Yeah.
I think it's an important ingredient in authenticity, whether you're, like if you're trying to be too polished and you're not being yourself, then you don't come off as being real, as being authentic, as being a real person. And, right. I know that I'm guilty of that. When I first got started in my entrepreneurial career, it's like I had this vision or this mindset of like how that had to look and right. the person I had to present to the public. And it wasn't until I like eased up a bit and just embraced being myself, however that looks. And that myself is somebody that stutters and doesn't, that says stupid shit sometimes and curses and is just goofy and is whatever. But that's, that's real.
That's right.
And I think that's a vital piece of the connection puzzle on live streaming.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's, there's no one way that authenticity looks, but I can tell you that like people can smell bullshit a mile away,
I got to laugh on Christopher. He did come back with a good one. Did you see it? Hypno Wedgie.
Oh yeah, I posted that.
LLC. Oh, I didn't
that
see
earlier. That's right. That will be the name of our next video.
No, that's the name of your next company.
That's right. Christopher says recovery is everything in live streaming, and that talking off the top of your head gets you into the flow. It does. It is kind of like freestyle writing or freestyle journaling. It's just freestyle broadcasting. I mean, we're in a time when we can broadcast to the world for free right now. It's pretty amazing, right? Might as well get good at it.
Yeah. I remember like the first time I started doing video work back in the Stone Ages where none of this was the deal. And I started like with a teleprompter and I sucked. It took so long and I just wasn't myself on the teleprompter. And I remember one time that I was recording something for a company that I was the CEO of, and it was really the first time that I was the one being the sole visionary of the product, of the video and everything. And it was all scripted, all on teleprompter. And I was also doing a recruiting video for new people to join the company, to get new sales and marketing people on board. And the script was perfect. But the word, and I remember talking, but then I came back, I was in Orlando, and I was running like 103 fever. It may have been the time that I went to support Sean in the mining gold. What's up, dudes? When I went up to support Sean there, but I was running, I had a flu and I was running 103 fever. And I was feeling lousy, but I had to finish the crescendo close. And I went out, and I think it was back in my Florida offices. We had this fountain in outdoor, and I just spoke off the top of my head what was in my heart, and I just boom went gangbusters for it. And my sales manager for our Las Vegas office said, all I play for new recruits is your 30-second intro and then your 3-minute close, and he called it the garden scene. And it was just, and I don't even think I was aware of what I was saying, because I was literally like kind of a little delirious, but that was like the beginning of me realizing that, being a little bit more, I have since learned how to be better on teleprompter, but I hate the teleprompter because I feel like I'm being robotic.
Right. It's interesting. And, everyone has a different relationship with this kind of stuff, and there's no one right way or one wrong way. Christopher says they can smell bullshit more than a mile away in Vermont.
And anywhere really, because psychically the bullshit meters, especially now in this day and age, right? I mean, like people, like they may not know why they don't trust somebody and why their bullshit sensors are going off, but they know that it's going off, and they're like,
It's true. I'll tell you here's what I found though. So I prefer talking off the top of my head with as little rehearsal as possible, because for me, it gives me a certain amount of excitement, anxiety, adrenaline. It doesn't make me nervous anymore.
You ever see that scene from Heat? Keeps me where I need to be, on the edge.
I haven't.
Awesome scene. The first one on film between De Niro and Pacino. Brilliant. Right. I mean, you got to see that whole exchange. It's just brilliant. Anyway, sorry. On the edge, where I need to be. Yes.
On the edge. But especially in the day and age of live streaming, you can talk about lots of different ideas and topics. You can tell lots of different stories over a series of live streams, and some of them are going to hit. Some of them are going to take off. So whether you're speaking like whatever at a BNI meeting, or if you're doing like Chamber of Commerce or Toastmasters, whatever you're doing to public speak, right? Wherever you're getting in front of people, sometimes you're going to get things that take off. And when you get something that works and resonates, that's when you start rehearsing it, right? Start doing it more. Once you've got something that works off the top of your head. So the off the top of your head stuff is your experimental ground. It's kind of like, I suspect, as a stand-up comic, trying to figure out which jokes you can drop that get a rise out of the audience or don't, and learning how to weave them together and that kind of stuff. But what I've found is that with webinars and with sales videos, for me, most of the time, a word-for-word scripted video, assuming it's following a proven script that works, almost on an ugly sales video style, white background, black text, almost always out-converts me freestyling or me freestyling around the script. If I or a competent copywriter takes the time to build me out a 450 slide webinar or sales video, going through that word for word is usually going to make me more money than me freestyling it and trying to outdo that.
Yeah, and that's the only time, frankly, that I've been good on teleprompter, is that type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
content and bonding and connecting and whatever, like, same as emails. Like, I prefer misspellings and grammar mistakes and even just like blatant use of the wrong word in the middle of a sentence, which I'm often guilty of. I prefer that because, I mean, it's my personality, I often,
it's who you are, right?
and people really, and so again, that creates more of that authenticity. And when you have that bond or connection with people, then when it's time to have a scripted presentation that you practice over and over again, it works that much better.
And that's the thing. Like, I mean, like I feel like I'm bipolar on this because like I'm definitely got multiple personalities on this particular topic, right? Because I like to be in the moment, off the cuff too, and be what do you call it, improvisational. But at the same time, I like a structured sales presentation. My marketing copywriting side needs to have a full story that I've really thought through every nuance, every strategy, every strategy, and that's the difference. Like when you have an outline or a script or something that you're following, at least for me, it's like I feel a sense of like I'm not going to forget anything vital. That's the one thing. Like not now on these the when we're free flowing here, but like sometimes when we do a presentation and I'll think afterwards, oh, shit, I really wanted to talk about X and I completely left that out. That would have been such a valuable piece of information to share with people. And it was just like I'm laughing at all this stuff. All my lives are off the top for sure. And at the end of the day, stuff, ha ha ha, stick in and Gene says WTF stuff. Yes, we do, Gene. That's what I was smiling about earlier when Tellman was talking. Yeah, no, I mean it's like all of that is I mean whatever. I'm now babbling.
So let's talk about some other important moments. So. I'll tell you that I was, I had left Positive Changes Hypnosis and I was trying to get my own private practice to work. I was failing. One client a day maximum.
Not like a business to go, like take
No,
out.
I was trying to get it to make money.
Got it.
And I was working night shift at the bread company. And I was trying like the classified ads and the classified ad system, I totally got it to work. I was getting weight loss and smoking people. But first of all, I didn't want to work with weight loss and I didn't want to work with smokers. It was out of like necessity. Especially 20 years ago, like hypnosis was even weirder than it is today. Like people really didn't understand it at all then. And so, what ended up happening is I was reading Mark Joyner's book, probably Mind Control Marketing, and was introduced to the idea of integration marketing and the idea of packaging your product or service as part of the sales process in someone else's product or service.
Yeah.
And trying to figure out how to adapt that to what I wanted to do online with business, but not really having clear direction. And while I was going for a run one day, I realized, oh my gosh, I can use integration marketing and plug my hypnotherapy practice into other people's business, and did successfully.
Yeah.
As I was running by a curse for women, I realized all of my weight loss clients were inside, and I was like, oh my God, there's a treasure trove right there under my nose the whole time.
They're already gathering. Yeah,
I've run by this place 100 times, and they all have money, right? And so I went and I built this mini practice model. I set up 6 offices, and in the course of a couple of months, I went from 1 client a day to 8 to 12 clients a day, 6 days a week, more than I could possibly handle. And I built an automated system based on freaking cardstock schedule book that I printed out on my printer and some clipboards. I used those are my tools in order to create an automated lead generation
system.
Right? It was a squeeze page and a client booking system all in and sales calls all in one. I didn't, and it worked. It was awesome.
Right.
So that was
and it leveraged you. Yeah.
Yep. Um, I have more, but what's your next one?
Well, I was just reading Elaine's comment about Rich Dad Poor Dad was a paradigm shift. That was another one for me too. Like I'm being reminded of. I mean, there's so many that had profound influence on my life, and now I'm not remembering any of them except when I see other people mention them. But I remember like an experience where I was going through uh, the Rich Dad infomercial program, because one of the byproducts of working for a seminar company is that I started buying every single infomercial product that came along, because A, I could now afford them, but B, I was now like a junkie of the student of the marketing and stuff. And I was already successful on the internet. It was 2001, somewhere in that time frame. And I bought the Kiyosaki's. No, it's not on the bookshelf here, but it's somewhere in storage. But anyway, I was going through understanding that like the way that he thought about assets versus liabilities. That was a game changer for me. The fact that he wrote the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. Here's what really blew my mind, and this was like a lesson that I've taken with me in my information marketing and in life in general, is that he came out with the cash flow game first. And he couldn't get anybody to buy the game, play the game. He couldn't get it to, it was called cash flow. And it was all about teaching his Rich Dad, Poor Dad principles.
Right.
And so he basically wrote this instruction manual for why the game was important, how it all comes into play. And that was Rich Dad Poor Dad as a book that became, this incredible best-selling book. That, experience of how he did that and going back to write the book to then sell the product to then, it's kind of like an offshoot on integration marketing that you had there. From mind control marketing, from Joiner's brilliance. But from there, so I bought his $200 or $300 home study course thing. And one of the things that he talked about in that course was like leveraging assets and, looking for alternative uses of those assets. And that's when I realized, it was right after I had done Sean Casey's promotion to his people. And I had that first experience, and it was in between that experience and 3 weeks later when I created the $104,000 NPOD results. It was a direct result of reading that, of going through that program and figuring out that I had another asset. And it was also like, well, this worked once. Was that just a fluke with Sean? Right. Or was this something that I could now do again and again? And that ultimately, now I'm remembering this, those three experiences combined together led to me to say, holy shit, I need to create a program about this and teach this. And that ultimately became the NPOD system.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting how all this stuff flows together, right?
Yeah.
I mean, well, so what happened for me next, this is timely.
Clipboard wealth.
Yeah. I mean, I ran into Nitro marketing and ended up meeting Joe Lavery as the project manager, and of course Matt Gill and Kevin Wilkie, who own Nitro. But I also met Rick Thompson, and I also met Craig Perrine and Eric Owens. They were all working with Nitro at that point. And right at the same time as we were putting together the promotion for the Nitro marketing mindset and getting all that figured out, Nitro was rolling out stuff with NPOD. Right. And so I got exposed to you and your material then, and I grabbed it and I went for it because I realized I got my first royalty check from Nitro.
Right.
The Nitro marketing mindset product we created, which was a huge eye opener, a $13,000 check. Right. It was just like, oh my God.
That you didn't have to be there doing
But then I realized, how do I get and then as those royalty checks very quickly diminished and dwindled,
It was nice, but now I want
like,
more.
shit, how do I get my own email list now? How do I do this? And because they're making bank, but they're on to their next launch, right? And I was like, and I guess I'll do this by building an NPod. And so I went through your system, implemented it, and I built my first $1 million business out of the blueprint that came out of NPod, right?
Yeah, cool.
Totally awesome. And so what that allowed me to do is I was, as a hypnotherapist, I was in private practice. I was selling my time by the hour for $75 an hour, but I had maxed out on time. And so my income was capped. I was on the hamster wheel working my ass off, but I couldn't get more hours in the day. And
you were done.
And I felt as if the amount that I could charge per hour was capped, but even if I was able to increase it, I'm still capped by my per hour. I was like, there's got to be a way to get leverage. There's got to be a way to break free from my current business model. And so if you're any kind of a coach or a consultant, if you're a healer of any type, whether you're a hypnotherapist or
building a practice,
a psychiatrist, psychologist, acupuncturist, right? Basically, if you help people, right? If you have some degree of knowledge, you have some degree of experience, expertise, lawyers. I mean, honestly, all of these different, we talked about chiropractors earlier, that also applies. Is, for me, I was a hypnotist or a hypnotherapist, but what I learned how to do was, instead of selling my time, I learned how to develop a system or a machine that allowed me to buy my time back and to get my time back that would create a passive revenue stream, selling my knowledge and experience in the background. And my income was no longer limited to my time. And that's how I had $1 million a year.
And you know what's so cool about that is that your knowledge can be both the marketing and the product.
That's right.
Both. And it doesn't have to be one or the other, and it doesn't have to stop at one. Like you how awesome is it to get paid by helping produce results for people, and the act of helping people in that moment, whether they buy or not, makes people more endeared to you, so to speak, more responsive to you. And I don't know another way that's why I love what we're doing here. And that's why the story of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and him writing that book, and that's knowledge, that's information or knowledge or a leverageable asset,
right?
That he had some insights that he could share that would make an impact for other people. And in the process of sharing that, both from a standpoint of spreading the word and explaining it, that he sold books, and then he sold the games, and now it turned into a multi, a 9-figure behemoth.
Right. And so that's interesting. When we talk about any of the people that we've talked about here today who've had a big influence on, Joshua, your and my life and marketing career, but everybody that's been chiming in, one thing that I've noticed is every single name that's been dropped are all successful direct response marketers that built a list and a machine to sell their knowledge or experience passively in the background, kind of like a passive income machine that clones part of your brain, clones part of your experience, and that's going in the background regardless of what you have going on in the foreground in order to get that leverage back, right? But there are a couple things that are necessary to pull this off, and one of them is hard work. So I've not yet met a millionaire in this world who is not a hard worker and doesn't have the ability to work their ass off when they need to. Except
for people that, won the lotto and are on the way down of losing everything again and going broke again.
No, I mean an entrepreneur. I mean somebody that's
a self-made millionaire,
and they built a business.
Right.
Hard work is key, because look, somebody's going to have to work hard in your business, and you're going to have to set an example if you have a team. Right. Yeah. If you're a slacker, you're going to hire slackers, and it's going to be no good. There's no easy millions. Right. The other thing is that people have to really want it. Right. If you're not in a place where you're not ready, willing, and able to like give it everything you've got, like,
Yeah, if you can't yet say what I said earlier about like, screw it, I'm going to celebrate the win by just completing this, regardless of what the results are, right? Like
that's right.
at least in my opinion, it takes that standpoint to, go in where you're willing to do whatever. And, it's like my friend Colin Collard said, what mountain are you okay to die on?
Right.
Whether you summit or not, because the climb is worthwhile to you.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get to that point, boy, that's huge.
So I fully agree. I fully agree. And so, Elaine says it can take years to build a system before you've earned $1. Elaine, it can.
Yeah, through trial and error, sure.
It can also take weeks. And that's one of the biggest things that, frankly, I got out of learning your methodology, Joshua, is that I learned that it's a myth that it has to take years to build a successful business. And in fact, in about 8 weeks' time, you can go through these core principles and implement them and build a machine that starts buying your time back in like 60 days, 2 months.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's not about adding more stuff to it. It's about eliminating lots of stuff.
That's right.
And really, getting it back to the basics. You know what I mean? Like, and it's so hard in this day and age. I mean, I thought it was hard back when I was starting out in online in '97.
Right.
I think it's even harder now because there's so much great stuff coming down the pike that's truly like breakthrough stuff. Every single second there's new, millions of possibilities that are encountered, and it's impossible to keep up with it all. So I think it's never been more important, frankly, now than ever, to go back to the fundamentals and basic principles and use the breakthrough technologies and the new things and the new enhancements where necessary, but you still have to have the core, foundation in place. And then, it's Katie bar the doors if you stay focused.
That's right. That's right. So, yeah,
absolutely. It's learning curves.
Christopher says it does take years to develop the wisdom to make better decisions. Yeah. Yes, or it takes all of your life. I mean, it's an ongoing process, right? I think you can make the better decisions today based on your experience from yesterday, right? Right. But like the older you get and the more experience you have, you definitely have more knowledge, more perspective to make better decisions moving forward. One would hope, right?
Yeah,
one would hope.
Katie bar the door. Katie is so incredibly busy today.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. No, it's it can take a lifetime or it can be overnight, but the overnight success is built on being ready, right? Until you have a desire to move forward and you've made up your mind that you're going here, that you're playing to win as opposed to playing not to lose, that you're going to the top, then all of the education doesn't matter. Right? Because then you become like me. You become like a really, really great intellectual student back, before I had any success. And you still have to go through the learning curve. So the learn and do part, it's a misnomer that you can learn everything perfectly, have that brilliant breakthrough of the clarity, and then boom, go out and execute. Because there's still, even if you could do that and you learned it perfectly, and the all of that is there, there's still going to be a difference between knowing it here and putting it to work in your specific situation and being able to adapt it and tweak it as you're doing it. So there is going to be another learning curve that you're going to have to go through anyway. So why not go through the same learning curve of the learning part and the doing part simultaneously and do it together?
Massive shortcut.
In the same time. Yeah, my overnight success took 30 years. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
So, yeah, guys, if you're interested in learning about this process. I mean, if you're already a hard worker, but if your income is stuck, right? If you're plateaued and you want to understand how to get that leverage so you can start buying your time back, then then ask for help. Basically, say help down in the comments, right? Or shoot me a private message. And we can simply set up a time to talk and see whether or not the methodology, Joshua's NPOD methodology, would be a good fit for you. You know, if you're looking to really build that scalable passive income machine online so that you don't have to be a slave to your watch, right? And a slave to the clock for the rest of your life. And that's something that you're ready for now, then type help into the comments, shoot me a private message, and we could totally get on the phone and have a conversation in the next few days and see whether or not the NPOD methodology would be helpful to get you there. What do you have to say about that? Oh, actually, I have a few spots on my calendar. Let me just drop a link for you guys. Bum, 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 bum. Maybe that won't work. The place to go is www.letstalkprivately.com.
Do you want me to put up my my fancy banner?
Yes, please.
Oh, a little bit too big, huh? I can take care of that, though. Watch this. Whoop.
Boom. Yeah. So if you guys like what we're talking about here and you're interested in exploring what it would be like to have the freedom of a business that didn't rely on your time all day long in order to make sales and generate income and, you know, really create the income for you and your business that you want. And I'd like to point out, this is all based on your existing knowledge, passions, expertise, and interest. This isn't like some, you know, cheeseball thing where you're just like selling somebody else's crap to make a quick buck. Like that's not what we're dealing with here. We're talking about really building a business that is an extension of you, right? Of your existing business or of your life, really, and experiences. So hopefully that makes sense.
I'm sorry, I just saw a GIF that Christopher, I guess it didn't carry over to from your page to the comments and Restream, and the scene from Friends where they're carrying the couch up the stairs and Ross is going pivot. That is awesome. I wish that we would have had that to put in our description.
That's great. All right, maybe tomorrow. Awesome.
Anyway, so there was something that Susan nailed it, and she was the one that inside the group said there's the key to stay focused. I totally agree. I just wanted to acknowledge that because it's great. We have a lot of different comments coming in from all over the place that we're not doing an apt job at staying on top of them with everybody, but that's phenomenal. Right. Thank you guys for all the interaction today.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, they work in comments sometimes, but they don't pull over to Restream very well, Christopher. It's absolutely cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Was there anything that I missed? I'm sorry, I was a little distracted looking, trying to keep up with the comments. Is there anything that you need from me?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, cool.
I think we're good. Cool, guys. Well, great to have everyone here. Thank you again for all your interaction. If you like these videos, please share them and spread the word. And if you'd like to talk about working together to really scale up your business and build that passive income machine that's chewing away in the background, driving revenue for you on a day-to-day basis instead of having to spend the rest of your life just selling your time, then please go ahead and either shoot me something in the comments and or a DM, or if you are ready to rock and roll, I have a couple of spots available on my calendar to talk in the next few days, and you can go to letstalkprivately.com to check out availability. There are only a few, so first come, first serve, but yeah, you should check it out.
And if they don't get booked, I mean, if you get there and there isn't a spot available, just hit Tellman up, because I'm sure next week there might be the opportunity for more. But anyway,
That's right.
like that.
Rock and roll. All right, everybody. Thanks for a great call today, and we'll talk to you all very, very soon.
See you guys.
Over now. Bye-bye.
Bye.